Good morning, everybody. First, let me apologize. My voice, I'm a little sick, but let's talk today about the problem of human scale and Thomas Hobbes. So Hobbes, to understand Hobbes' view, we need to understand Hobbes' view of human nature first. And Hobbes believes that the natural state for humans is anarchy, chaos. He says that humans are, it's basically a negative view that humans will do what's best for each themselves individually. So anarchy is our natural state, the state we are in nature. And because this is a miserable state to be in, we go and seek out coalition forming government to prevent that anarchy. What happens is that humans give up their individual power to one individual, emperor, king, whatever, in exchange for rules and laws that benefit them. So in short, they realize they're better off living in peace and harmony and giving and coming together under government than they would be living in absolute anarchy. Now, this is kind of his idea of consent of the governed, and it's absolutely necessary to prevent the anarchy and chaos that humans like to live in naturally. And now here's where we start to get a problem. This is kind of a social contract, right? You do X, Y, and Z government. I'll do A, B, and C. I'm going to give you some of my rights. You are going to have to be responsible for protecting some of my rights. And the bigger the government, the better this works, on and on and on. But of course, Hobbes sees the problem there that it's only a matter of time before social groups begin to form within that society. And by social groups means like smaller governments, like city government, county government, churches, other social groups that are going to form, and they're going to challenge the authority of the ruler. And that's when the government has to assert itself because there can only be one supreme authority, and it has to be the ruler, right? So government asserts itself to be the supreme authority. But by doing this, they start to risk rebellion from within those groups, from within the political order, because those groups have their own social contracts working, and the government has made it a big social contract in and of itself. So government needs to grow to be more effective, but the more it grows, the more social groups form, and the harder they become to maintain. So scaling government to fit the needs is an ongoing issue in most places. The more government grows, the more special interests form as coalitions come together and break apart. These things make scaling government programs a problem. Our own government is pretty much evidence of that. Like right now, the difficulty is just finding the right thing to do. But as politics moves into the Hobbesian zero-sum game, if you gain, I lose, each side is unwilling to talk about it. And the perception, the issue is one of perception. Everybody's not losing. It's just you think you might be. But perception of reality can be far more important than reality to those people living in that situation. And it only gets worse as society starts to challenge and change the status quo. Scalability on the part of government and public policy decision making becomes more difficult. For instance, oftentimes making policy for things like public aid, helping people out in poverty or something like that. On a small scale, they work well, but when you scale them up, it becomes a problem, right? And the bigger the program becomes, the more money you spend, the more money you have to spend, the less cost effective it becomes. And each special group has its own problem within that whole thing. Well, in Hobbes' theory of government, the government has to act, but how do you act? You have to act to maintain a social contract, but how do you act in a way that's responsible for everybody? This is the problem of scaling, of human scaling, of government and social order. And it's a conundrum, quite honestly, I don't have an answer for. But I don't think Hobbes did either. So I want to say thank you. It's been a pleasure being in class with you guys, and have a great one.